Hello, my name is Scott Davis, and welcome to New World Birth. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of March 4th of 2015, and one Akbal or night in the Mayan Zolkin calendar, with the Virgo full moon, Mercury entering Pisces, Saturn turning retrograde, and the seventh and final Uranus Pluto square. So March 4th is one Akbal or night, which carries the themes of dreams, transitions from light to dark and dark to light, starry skies, subconscious thoughts, the void where nothing exists but there is all potential, the womb of creation, sanctuary, the underworld, stillness, introspection, dawn and dusk. The glyph for night is the owl, a creature of both the day and night, and the one night Trecena is a great time to explore the dark places in our lives, to realize that without darkness we cannot see the stars. And before I get into the one Akbal or night daily information, on the 4th, all the planets appear to be moving forward from our vantage point on Earth, with the exception of Jupiter, which appears to be moving retrograde or in reverse motion. And then remember, the themes of retrograde planets are a review of the past, reevaluate, reminisce, and we can see these themes being played out. Jupiter retrograde, it's in Leo, Leo, and which brings a review of opportunities, faith, religion, beliefs, and expansion. Leo is about leadership, creativity, drama, entertainment, and children. And mostly what I find with Jupiter retrograde, as with any retrograde cycle, is there's a review of the past. And with Jupiter, what gets reviewed is missed opportunities. March is very significant with the first solar eclipse of 2015, the equinox, the final Uranus-Pluto square, and Saturn turning retrograde. And Saturn here appears to be slowing down at the opening of March prior to appearing to move retrograde or in reverse motion from our perspective here on the Earth. It changes direction on March 14th at 4 degrees 55 minutes of Sagittarius. So the beginning of this report period, Saturn is coming to a stop. It's at the peak of its power. Saturn retrograde is a little more complicated. This particular Saturn retrograde is a little more complicated because Saturn begins in the sign of Sagittarius, where it begins to turn retrograde, but eventually it backs into the final degrees of Scorpio. And the themes of Saturn in Scorpio are loss, depression, failure, fear, the shadow, betrayal, stuff that goes really deep. And so the return to Scorpio for the last time until 2041 will bring us to make final decisions regarding the themes of the Scorpion. And these can be very difficult and often painful decisions. For me, following my strategy and authority from my human design chart has been an amazing tool for making decisions during this time of uncertainty, where the consequences of choice will affect us for years to come. But currently, Saturn is in Sagittarius. And this is different. It delays success until perseverance and patience are learned. Sagittarius themes are travel, education, adventure, expanding our horizons, planning for upcoming festivities. Ruled by Jupiter, it represents faith, confidence, and abundance. Sagittarius resists responsibility and confinement, seeking to remain free. And this brings more focus on discovering new ideas, philosophy, being at the right place at the right time, and the overall quality of optimism. Saturn brings the details to the grand overview of Sagittarius. And the proverb, he who travels slowly travels far and gets there safely is a great description of Saturn in Sagittarius. Sag rules higher education, and Saturn brings hardship. So folks may find themselves being educated at the school of hard knocks. And with Pluto in Capricorn and Saturn moving out of its mutual reception that it had in Scorpio, we're likely to see more limitations on travel, particularly where Ebola is present, as Pluto rules plagues. Saturn returning to Scorpio mid-June to mid-September slows the decay and collapse of governments, banks, and corporations, which are represented by Pluto in Capricorn. Then moving back into Sagittarius, September 17th, means that the mutual reception will no longer protect those entities. Saturn will eventually square Neptune in Pisces, which will further dissolve structures and rules. And then Saturn entered into its retrograde shadow period on December 8th of 2014, when it reached the point where it will eventually turn direct at 28 degrees of Scorpio, which brought us a period of time where we received information regarding our commitments that come up for review under Saturn's retrograde period from March 14th to August 2nd of 2015. This ultimately will yield a change in course regarding these themes during the period from August 2nd to November 8th of 2015. So to understand how you'll personally be impacted, you want to look at the area governed by the house of your astrological chart that contains the arc between 5 degrees of Sagittarius and 28 degrees of Scorpio. For me, this is my 6th house of health and service. So Saturn wants me to seriously work on how I can better serve people and make choices to increase health by reviewing those issues during its retrograde period. Saturn is the Roman counterpart to the Greek god Kronos, and something interesting about Saturn is he underwent a metamorphosis in his meaning in the pantheon of the gods. Originally, he was the god of generation, disillusion, plenty, wealth, agriculture, renewal, and liberation, which are themes that are really more associated in astrology with Jupiter, who is Saturn's son. Saturn's reign was depicted as a golden age of peace and plenty, and was associated with Roman festivals of feasting, free speech, gift-giving, and revelry, while Saturn was with his consort Rhea. But when he was associated with the goddess who received bloodied weapons of the enemy destroyed in war, Lula, we see the more familiar Saturnian qualities of limitation and restriction. Saturn retrograde is a taskmaster that demands we take responsibility to review our beliefs while in Sagittarius and review our ethics while in Scorpio. And so now we're going to look at the daily vibrational energy for this trecena. March 4th is one Akbal, or night, in the Zolkin calendar. This is about unity experience through contemplating the stars, with Venus right here in a trine to Jupiter. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is a 120-degree angle. Venus is also conjunct Uranus, so they're at the same degree of Aries, and squaring Pluto over here in Capricorn, being at a 90-degree angle to Pluto and Capricorn. So this is a really busy day for the planet of love, money, and socializing. Venus trine Jupiter, this is one of the best transits except for its short duration. It brings ease, grace, pleasant social interactions, As with any Jupiter-Venus transit, it can bring laziness and self-indulgent behavior. Mostly, most will experience this as a need to break free from the daily grind. This is a great energy for social interactions, entertainment, and amusement. Romance and financial interests are favored by this transit, along with traveling or taking a vacation that begins at this time of Venus trine Jupiter, as it indicates that the journey will be fun, enlightening, and rewarding. Due to the low energy of this transit, it's not the best time to start any enterprise that requires a great deal of energy. And then Venus here conjunct to Uranus, so at the same degree of Aries, 15 degrees Aries. It brings a day that's full of surprises. It's wonderful for self-expression in relationships, but we should be very careful of unexpected disruptions in relationships if folks are feeling bored and routine. The energy merges the planet of money and love with the planet of unpredictability, unexpected events, and independence. So the results could be shocking, but not necessarily bad. Someone who's been unable to free themselves from a horrible relationship may find the courage to leave. Someone may unexpectedly have a financial windfall or enter into an exciting new love connection. But we could also see the stock market or another financial system collapse. Basically, with Uranus involved, the results are unpredictable. And of course, this is also being influenced by Jupiter and Pluto. Relationships begun under this type of transit are usually very exciting and unstable. Financial opportunities likely could yield unexpected gains or losses. And then we've got Venus here in a square to Pluto. So again, this is a 90-degree angle from our perspective here on the Earth. And it has us ramping up towards that final Uranus-Pluto square that happens on the last day of this trecena. It intensifies our emotional experiences and expression. It brings a few days that are a little more challenging for relationships. It brings secrets out into the open. This is a time of being drawn into powerful love experiences that change our consciousness, at least for a time. This may bring changes to relationships that are only recourse is to surrender and accommodate the shift, which can be difficult because we crave stability in relationships, and at times like this, relationships are anything but stable. Probably the best option is to hold loosely to those that we love for a few days before and after the 4th. This could be a time when we might hear or contemplate contacting a former lover as Venus dances with Pluto. Venus, and then followed by Mars activating the Uranus-Pluto square, brings energy where we see triggering the larger cycle as we move toward the final challenge between the planet of liberation in the sign of the individual and the planet of transformation in the sign of structures. Venus and then Mars make these events more these events of global upheaval, death, and rebirth seem more personal. So watch for events related to conflicts erupting and hidden power being exposed in both our personal lives and in global politics. I'm not going to be covering the daily lunar activity in these reports other than new and full moons, but that information is available on the New World Birth daily Facebook post and also on the blogger New World Birth blog. On the 5th, we have toucan or seed or lizard duality experience through planting seeds and making new connections. with the Virgo full moon. And the moon is at 14 degrees, 50 minutes of Virgo, and is finding support from Pluto and opposed by the Sun and Chiron. This is about finding balance between our surrender to spirit, represented by the Sun in Pisces, to be balanced with the practical aspects of living in the physical world, represented by the moon in Virgo, with Pluto bringing out intense emotions and stimulating sensitivity, which favors sexual relationships, and Chiron making us aware of our old wounds so that they can be consciously healed. Mars is conjunct the lunar south node during this lunation, further emphasizing taking action to release something from the past. The full moon, this full moon has karma written all over it. And in Virgo, it's about health, work, and service, and discernment, organization, and discrimination. Also on the 5th, we've got the Sun in a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. So this is a 60-degree angle between the Sun and Pluto, which empowers us to make changes in our immediate environment and reform the aspects of our lives that have brought us unhappiness over time. Embrace the opportunities that on the 5th that can be used for improvement of the general good. This is good energy for cleaning up a situation that has become confused or disordered, such as getting clear on a difficult personal situation, or even cleaning house. This can also bring us deeper into our thoughts and feelings that superficial aspects are really no longer adequate for. Investigations should be thorough, leaving no stone unturned. Subjects such as psychology, the occult, yoga, and other transformative techniques are favored to be studied under the influence of the Sun sextile Pluto. On the 6th, we have 3 Chichan, or serpent, taking action through being flexible in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. The 7th is 4 Kimi, or transformation, stability through releasing what no longer serves us. March 8th is 5 Manik, or deer, empowerment through being of service to others. The 9th is 6 Lamat, or star, or rabbit, which is about being in the flow through being grateful for abundant relationships. The 10th is 7 Maluk, or offering, reflection through appreciating all of creation. And we've got, at this point, this is where Mars is now in the trine to Jupiter. So again, 120-degree angle from our perspective here on the Earth, which has high energy for physical activity and the growth of consciousness and knowledge. It brings forward movement through the opening doors and opportunities that lead in the right direction. Physically, this is high energy with positive feelings of being able to accomplish more work than usual. Some may feel lucky during this time period, but this transit also brings the ability to act based on seeing the whole picture. It's very good for any activity to balance your own interests, to advance your own interests, but being conscious of the action of our actions to avoid self-aggrandizement. Business is favored under this transit, but we need to but we may find ourselves blessed by insights that we don't normally have in business opportunities. Excuse me. Optimism and positive energy bring more favorable results if we find the need to take a gamble on an unknown adventure during this time of Mars interacting with Jupiter. And then the 11th is 8 Auk, or dog, balanced through enjoying family and friends. And at this point, we have Mars conjunct Uranus. So from our perspective on here on the Earth, Mars and Uranus are both at 15 degrees of Aries. And we've got also Mars in a square to Pluto in Capricorn. Um, and this is continuing the growing intensity towards that final Uranus-Pluto square in just a few more days. Uh, so Mars conjunct Uranus can bring sudden upsets, rash behavior, unexpected incidences like no other transit. Uh, Plans and making plans flies out the window without warning under this influence. This brings the desire to suddenly assert our freedom, which affects everyone in wanting to break free from all limitations. Uh, this can be a challenging time to interact with authority figures, as people are likely to act impulsively and rashly. This could also indicate accidents are more likely due to carelessness and or anger. The best way to use this energy is to get involved in some type of new innovative project that you can channel that Martian energy into, especially if you can work alone, as everyone will want to assert their individuality under this influence, which is not particularly conducive to teamwork. And then, of course, we've also got Mars squaring Pluto. So again, this 90-degree angle between Mars and Pluto on the 11th continues to ramp up the intensity, leading to that 7th and final Uranus-Pluto square. So the 9th to the 16th being the peak of this expression of aggression, unexpected rebellion, and transformation. This would be a time to release Martian energy constructively through physical activities and exercise. This really brings a showdown between planet octaves, Mars and Pluto, who are also co-rulers of Scorpio. So this could be about transforming the world around you or having fierce disagreements and power struggles. It arouses ambition and the desire to get ahead with a high energy to back the drive with action, usually with opposition coming from others. This can be ruthless and underhanded in dealing with anyone who is an obstacle to achieving the goal. So it's definitely a time to avoid dangerous people and dangerous places on the 11th. The 12th is 9 Shuin or monkey, patience experience through creating something new. And at this point, we've got Mercury moving into Pisces. This brings our minds and our communications into the realm of psychic revelations, while in Pisces, it brings a time period with strong spiritual undercurrents and otherworldly realizations, but also great confusion. And let's make sure it doesn't get confused that it's up here in Pisces. Stay. So anyway, and then on the 14th, we've got, the 13th, we've got 10 Ebb or Road in the Mayan Zolkin calendar, which is manifestation through serving your community. March 14th is 11 Ben or Reed or Corn, resolution through manifesting, resolution through maintaining the home. And this is the point where Saturn turns retrograde or appears to be moving backwards from our perspective here on Earth. Which begins the reviewing of past plans to look for practical solutions. This is no small task, given that we've got the Sun, Mercury, Neptune, and Chiron all in Pisces, whose influence wants to flow and who are in a challenging square to Sagittarius, where Saturn is changing direction. Excuse me. The overall energy of Saturn retrograde can cause stagnation and even break down what is in need of repair or weak. Themes for the next 4.5 months are renovation, reconstruction, deconstruction, review of all forms of responsibility. Turning retrograde days before the final Uranus Pluto square, when Mercury will be squaring Saturn, indicates a potential for crisis, particularly when Mercury is in a challenging angle to Saturn, bringing a limitation and loneliness to our thinking and negativity to communications. Excuse me. The 15th is 12 Ish or Jaguar, understanding through enjoying nature in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. And the 16th is 13 Men or Eagle, movement to the next stage through seeing from a higher perspective. And at this point, Mercury is an exact square to Saturn, so this is a 90-degree angle from our perspective here on Earth. And we've got Uranus in an exact square to Pluto, again from our perspective here on Earth. So both of those alignments are 90-degree alignments. And this Uranus-Pluto square is the 7th and final transit of these titans, which, this is the final time they're going to clash until their opposition in 2045. So let's first start. We'll talk about Mercury squaring Saturn. Mercury squaring Saturn, it favors a heavy mental contemplation that requires disciplined thinking, a sharper mind, and higher standards for quality. But it also brings difficulty in communicating and being understood by others. So it's not the best time for any type of negotiation with folks misinterpreting each other. So I delay business dealings for a day or two. This is a time when people are more likely to withdraw and feel lonely. The gift of this passage is that it increases our ability to think practically, but we also see the imperfections and flaws. And this can be very serious in this pursuit of betterment. So make sure that you're honoring what is positive and not getting overwhelmed by the many imperfections that are in view with this transit. We're all very conscious of flaws, including our own, so we can use our critical eye as to what should be changed to bring improvement. Older people may also serve as teachers or mentors at this time. And then also on the 16th, this is the time. This is the Uranus Pluto's last square, which it brings the themes of revolution, transformation, and tension between the material and spiritual worlds. Upheaval, along with death and rebirth, are particularly potent at this time. The acceleration and transformation related to revolution and evolution is increasing exponentially. This is the peak of the energy for unexpected change as old ways, old structures are crumbling to prepare for transformation. This is one of those undercurrents that will be most powerful during this final challenging square between Uranus and Aries and Pluto and Capricorn at 15 degrees. These challenging angles between Uranus, the planet of disruption, revolution, and unexpected change, in Aries, the sign of the individual, challenging Pluto, the planet of death and destruction, but also rebirth, in the sign of Capricorn, representing the structures, including governments and corporations, is the most powerful transit of our time. These two titans have had exact confrontations an amazing 7 times between 2012 and 2015. Usually this type of transit occurs 3 or 5 times. 7 times is very unusual and very, very intense. And this is what we've been dealing with. So I'm guessing we're all a little more used to it at this point. But the energy of all this, we're really not going to even be aware of how this has truly affected us, until later in the year and even years from now. So we're going to look at the chart for this Uranus-Pluto square. And the first thing that I was struck by was that we have right here, we have Chiron, which is the wounded healer. It's in Pisces, and it's in 17 degrees, which means it's forming a sextile to Pluto over here in 15 degrees Capricorn, and a semi-sextile to Uranus over here, 15 degrees of Aries. This alignment in the chart, it brings depth and intensity to our healing, represented by Chiron, which is a wonderful transformative force for releasing old wounds that have become an obstacle to freedom for humanity from the decaying power structures. These Uranus Pluto squares have made us aware of the financial and political systems being slowly and sometimes almost seemingly invisibly, but now it's becoming much more visible, compromised like sandcastles as the tide is coming in. And when I look at this chart, I see Jupiter right here at the top of the chart as being key in this chart. Jupiter is supporting and being supported by over here we've got Mars and Uranus in the end of Aries conjunct, and so this has its effect on Jupiter, which really knows no limits. It's an expansive quality that adds fuel to the fire of the sudden upsets and unexpected incidences with the Mars Uranus conjunction, pushing people to assert their freedom and break free of limitations. And with Mars involved, this could be very aggressive and possibly even violent. And having Mars and Uranus conjunct right here in the chart, uh, uh, and they're being squared, of course, by Pluto, because this is the chart of the Uranus-Pluto square. So we can see them here with these planets in a 90-degree angle to Pluto. This adds adds to the expression of aggression, unexpected rebellion, leading leading to the transformation of decaying structures through fierce disagreements and power struggles. And then we've got the Aquarian moon right here towards the bottom part of this chart. And you can see it's in a direct opposition to Jupiter at the top part of the chart. And this uh, uh, Aquarian moon is also uh, excuse me, is also being uh, influenced by other aspects, including the making a sextile to Saturn, and Saturn is also at a standstill. First of all, the Aquarian moon opposed by Leo. This it brings kind of an emotional coolness that wants to expand its innovative humanitarian effort, and it's also the sextile to Uranus and semi-sextile to Pluto. And then we've got Saturn. It's at a standstill, and as we've talked about before, we can see Saturn right here, and it's in a square to Mercury right here in the chart, and and uh, and also and Mercury's merged. It's in the same point as Neptune and Pisces, which this is really dissolves the rules and structures and brings further confusion and misinformation in communications. The outcome of this final Uranus-Pluto square may not be known, like I said, for months. And perhaps even a year after the actual event, due to the thinking and communications being influenced by Neptune's fog and Saturn's limitation. And I think that the media will spin whatever story is presented, and that story will be restricted in scope to keep the masses ignorant. So, you know, Neptune, the fog, is going to put the spin on it. The Saturn is going to limit it where it's going to be available. Now, the interesting thing about this chart that I look at is right here. We've got Venus over here, and it's not aspecting anything in the chart. It really Venus is outside the chaos of the chart. She makes no angles, no major angles to other planets, which emphasizes that the feminine power to rise above the flames like the phoenix in the final degree of Aries, just ready to step into the sign of her rulership Taurus and ground the new beginnings that emerge with the crumbling patriarchy as we move into the post Uranus Pluto square era. So, no matter what energies are affecting you during the one night trisena, take some time to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature, watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or being truly conscious with somebody you love. Every day we have is a blessing, no matter what the dramas that beckon to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of a lifetime on the world stage. Just take some time to observe the play as well as act your part by remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. Thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of Care and Feeding of a New World Age will be on March 17th for one key or wisdom with Venus entering Taurus, the Pisces new moon, solar eclipse, all on the same day as the equinox. Just a powerful equinox with the new moon and first solar eclipse of 2015, all happening within 13 hours of each other. So you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, or the Mayan Magics website. And I invite you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And as always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings and do wish to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks. So I'm creating 3 options with 3 levels of compensation to try and make this available to just about everybody. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine, in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And as always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. In Lakesh. And so much gratitude that you've taken the time to connect with us. And I truly do look forward to connecting with you in a reading or in a future video or through email if you have a question. So all my best to everybody.